The background to this year's budget is according to the OBR, expected black hole in the economy of about 18 billion caused by lower than expected or forecast growth. And when you combine that with the reduction in earnings that results from that, plus low inflation, we see a much lower tax yield, which is probably going to lead to further spending cuts and who knows what in relation to taxation. Now, the big change that we were expecting in the sector was, of course, the change to pensions tax relief. And it seems, although we haven't had no official confirmation, that that's not going to happen. Everyone expects that's going to be a deferment. The numbers are too big. The case is probably too compelling to not have any change into the future. But right now, we're probably seeing no change of a big nature in relation to pensions. So no move to a TEE system, the ISA-based system, no move to a flat rate relief. Both those things will, of course, be up for discussion in future, even maybe months, but nothing for now. But that doesn't mean there'll be nothing at all on pensions, of course. It would be probably surprising if there weren't. We've seen some talk of possibly bringing down the annual allowance even further for high earners, or maybe just extending the universe of those who'll be caught by bringing down that 150,000 limit a little bit lower, possibly even to 100, some have suggested. And possibly even a lowering of the lifetime allowance as well. We'll just have to wait and see in relation to that. But the big story is no big change on pensions is expected. No official statement, but no official denial either. On income tax, of course, just before we leave pensions, we ought to say that there has been that Office of Tax Simplification document talking around the alignment or bringing together of income tax and national insurance. We'll probably see some further discussion on that, and that may have some implications in relation to pensions. Some have talked about possibly reducing the national insurance attraction of pensions, and almost inevitably there being some action, because it's been talked about so much, in relation to salary sacrifice schemes, but probably only those put into effect after the budget. So not too long to plan there. In relation to income tax, we may see a possible acceleration of the move towards a higher threshold for higher rate, and possibly that aspired to £12,000 personal allowance. We don't know. The overall economic background may not allow that. On investments, there's been a pre-announcement of the introduction of the Help to Save arrangement, whereby those who are in work and receiving tax or universal credits would get 2 bonuses of £500 in relation to savings that they make of up to £50 a month. Whether that works to get those people to save money is another issue. The underlying driver, of course, is that apparently over 50% of the people in the UK of working age have less than £500 in savings. On inheritance tax, possibly some further detail or help in relation to the over-complex residence nil rate ban. So whatever the changes that we see in this budget, and there are bound to be some that are utterly unexpected, the classic rabbits out of hats, it will inevitably lead to opportunities for advisors to inform, maybe even inspire their clients to action, and of course their professional connections. And of course, don't also forget that we have a number of changes that are definitely going to happen that have already been announced in past budgets and the autumn statement, of course. The most notable of those for financial planners is the introduction of a completely new system for taxing dividends, with the £5,000 tax-free dividend allowance and higher rates of tax on dividends over and above that. Really important to factor that into investment planning. Then we've got the personal savings allowance in relation to primarily interest, but also bond gains, £1,000 tax-free, £500 for higher and additional rate taxpayers, higher rate taxpayers, none for additional rate taxpayers. And then we've got the pensions changes with annual allowance tapering for high earners or high income receivers, more accurately, and the reduction of the lifetime allowance to £1 million. Both of those may, as I said earlier, see some further action in the budget. So go to TechLink. Don't forget, go to TechLink for all of your budget updates. We'll be starting work on budget day and through the evening to produce our comprehensive budget summary. And of course, in the days and weeks following that, through to the finance bill. Happy budget.